having a ULIP plan and the factors that you might want to consider before putting money and once you also get your money, because there the rules have changed, in the budget a year ago, I guess. I know ULIP is a topic that we can talk, for a very long period of time. Harsh, we can give a lot of time to ULIP, but then here I have time constraints. So just in short, tax advantage on ULIP and the factors one might want to consider. And it is ATC. You might also want to just consider ALSS instead of ULIPs. Harsh.
Yes, absolutely. So coming back from the point where I said that insurance is meant only for protection purposes and there should not be clubbed with any investments, ULIP is a combination of protection and investments. So from the tax element point of view, the premiums that you pay in a ULIP policy also qualify for deduction under Section 80C. However, there is a limit in terms of the when you receive the maturity proceeds. So earlier it was the concept was that even if it's a ULIP policy and you pay as much as you wish, if you're paying more than say 2.5 lakh premiums, you're paying 5 lakh rupees as premiums, the maturity proceeds from an insurance policy are tax exempt under Section 1010D. So even if it's a ULIP and you're getting the money back, it's going to be tax free. That provision has changed and been modified to say that if your annual aggregated premium is more than 2.5 lakhs in a year, then the maturity proceeds are not going to be tax free. Earlier it was tax exempt, now it is not tax exempt. And that is, mind you, an aggregate. So it's not that only one per policy 2.5 lakhs. If you have three policies and all three have 1 lakh rupee premium each, so you're paying 3 lakh rupees per annum. So it is an aggregate, in an aggregated basis, you're paying more than 2.5 lakhs in a year. So the maturity proceeds that you get on all your ULIP policies will be taxable. It will not be tax free. So that is one part. Now, coming to the second part, yes, as I said, I would prefer to have investments separate in an exclusive pure investment product and insurance being separate. So ELSS works very well in terms of saving tax under Section 80C. So I think that is one element which people should very actively consider.
All right, Harsh, I would request you to stay connected because if you're talking about saving taxes, NPS is a very interesting investment instrument for retirement goal that one might want to consider. And so, the things about NPS is at the end of financial year approaches, it becomes essential to make well-informed decisions as far as tax saving is concerned before 31st March deadline. So, Anand Rathi Wealth's Deputy CEO Firoz Aziz talks about saving money on NPS. Listen in.
There's also another provision of NPS,
Okay.
which is a separate provision of 50,000 rupees a year. Not that I'm very excited as an investment venue for NPS.
Right.
Because it's too complex for a youngster to
Absolutely.
understand. Tier 1 account, Tier 2 account and all that. But irrespective, the 50,000 limit is a mutually exclusive limit and it's beyond the 1.5 lakhs is something worth informing the viewer.
All right, so this was about NPS, and earlier on the Money Show, we have discussed in depth as far as investing in NPS is concerned and considering NPS as a tax saving option. You might just want to go on our YouTube channel and check out all the episodes of the Money Show, Save Your Taxes. But moving on, it's time to, get our viewers connected and let's start their life financial planning. Harsh, so we will take Sagar's question, and he says that he can park 50% in emergency fund into debt index mutual fund. That's what he's considering, like HDFC Nifty GSEC June 2036 index, or SBI CRISIL IPX Gilt Index April 2029, or Dynamic Bond Fund. I think I have Sagar with me on the phone line connected as well. Sagar, hi, good evening. So we've taken up your question on the Money Show, and it's about creating your emergency fund. You've given us 3 options. And is there anything else you want to add to your question? Because then I can just go ahead to our expert and have your query answered.
Sure. Just a minute. I have already invested. I have set the target for 6 lakh as an emergency fund. Okay. So among the 6 lakhs, I have already invested in 3 lakhs in FD with interest rate 7.98. So my next target is to collect the 3 lakhs. Okay. So I will collect within a few months, but before that, I need to where I can it get invested, whether in the same FD with 7.98 or whatever I shown the index bond or dynamic bond. That is my query.
Sure. All right, Harsh, over to you.
Yeah, so Sagar, when you invest for emergency funds, when you're creating an emergency fund, there are 2 criteria which are to be considered. One is it should be easily liquidable. Okay, so your fixed deposits are liquidable and all other investments that you mentioned are liquidable. The second element that you have to be careful about is that I don't want volatility in this particular investment. Say, for example, you're investing into a target maturity fund with a 2036 as a maturity. Now, because there's a long duration, bond, if there is any movement, it will directly show into it is going to be more volatile than what a liquid fund or low duration fund is going to be. So, in case the interest rates were to go up, you will start seeing negative returns on your emergency fund as well. So, when you're investing for emergency purposes, just keep in mind the objective is not to maximize returns. The objective is to keep volatility low. The objective is to get money as and when you want it without any loss. Now, while fixed deposit serves a good purpose, there is only a problem that if in case you need to premature withdraw, there's going to be a penalty levied upon by the bank for premature withdrawal. Now, compare that with a liquid fund or a low duration fund. Well, the returns are going to be not probably as good as a target maturity fund for which is maturing in 2036, but
Right.
there is not going to be any volatility
Right.
as well. So, what I
Right.
would recommend that you stick to low duration funds, short duration funds at best. Otherwise,
Okay.
I wouldn't suggest a dynamic bond fund or target maturity funds.
All right. All the best with your portfolio, Sagar. And we move on. We have Karun Seth question. And Karun, thank you so much for sending us your question. I have all the details. I'm running short on time. If there's nothing more to add to your question, can I directly go to our expert and get your query answered? Karun?
Yes, sir, ma'am. That's only the query I have,
Sure.
which I have listed on.
All right. Perfect. Got it. Harsh?
So, he's investing 20,000 in total and the
Right.
allocation is across different market segments. So, I don't think there's any problem there. However, in the large cap category, I would suggest that he pick an index fund, which is an ICICI approved BSE Sensex fund. All other schemes are fine. Just that I'm not too sure why he's taken the income distribution. I mean, why has he taken a dividend payout option? Because his time horizon long term. So I guess he should stick to the growth option, even for that Nippon India small cap fund.
All right. Karun, is there anything else you want to ask Harsh?
No, what was the first fund which you have stated? It's the ICICI which fund?
Yeah, so I'm saying in the large cap category, invest in the ICICI approved BSE Sensex fund and retain the other schemes that you have. Motilal Oswal, we don't know the scheme name. So you retain the HDFC mid cap, Nippon India small cap, SBI Contra, and just add the ICICI approved BSE Sensex plan in the large cap category.
All right, we move on to Harish's question, Harsh, and I think he has 10 funds in his portfolio and he's doing an SIP of 1,000 rupees each, and he wants to know the current fund selection is good enough for him or not, and he wants to invest at least for 10 years. And so he also wants you to suggest more funds, 2 to 3 funds for long-term horizon if that's needed, because he already has 10 funds, and which method is good, lump sum or SIP is what something he wants to understand.
Okay, so with regards to his own portfolio that he sent, about 10 funds that you have, I suggest that you need to prune it down to say only 5. So I will keep all the schemes that you have, just increase the allocation from 1,000 per fund to 2,000 rupees per fund. So out of your entire portfolio, just retain these following schemes: HDFC Flexi Cap, Kotak Emerging Equity Fund, SBI Contra, Nippon India Small Cap, and ICICI Approved Balance Advantage Fund. In all of these schemes, instead of investing 1,000, invest 2,000 rupees per scheme. So you'll have only 5 schemes going further. Redeem out of all the other schemes and just invest it back into these 5 schemes itself. Now, with regards to your son's investments, because he's just starting off, I mean, investing in a lump sum or SIP depends upon what is your risk profile. But because you're asking this question and you're starting off new, I suggest that let him have a good experience by starting with an SIP or an STP. And the schemes that he could add in his portfolio to begin with would be one flexi cap and a one multi cap. So Parag Parikh flexi cap and ICICI Approved multi cap. Let him start his investments with these 2 schemes, invest via SIP or STP, and going further, he can add other market segments to his portfolio.
All right, I think that will be all for today. Thank you so much, Harsh, for being on the show and helping our viewers with their financial portfolio queries. And on that note, it's a wrap on the Money Show as well. But I'm going to leave you with our WhatsApp number and email ID, where we want you to send across your questions so that we can do your live financial planning on the show. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.